So, just one small thing, and something else which arrived, and my Splatoon 2 Inkling Squid arrived. Now I get to put him up here with all the other Amiibos. And we'll focus on opening this. And yeah, I got a Japanese version of the guy, so it's amusing. So we got a Hidamari sketch Honeycomb, which I do believe has only been DVD released before, so unless I did something really stupid, just this is here now. I don't know, I guess I'm peeking at the inside before side. I should watch it. I expect Japanese with English subtitles. I see it's region A only. Life is like a painting in progress. You never know what you're gonna get. And then Jojo's Bizarre Adventure on Blu-ray. This Phantom Blood and Battle Tendency arcs. I think this was released by Warner Brothers. Viz. I see Viz there. Region A. Trying to see if it says it's English dubbed or not. English and Japanese stereo audio. It says so right there. So, I guess if that's notable to anybody, that's there. I'm just trying to get a hold of the plastic, because once that happens, this all comes off and it becomes a lot easier. Because now I can take this and toss it, I guess. I don't know, it's a pretty neat presentation. I was thinking it was like two things that separated like that, but as you can see, it opens up like this. And I don't know, let's look at this first. Set 1. This is that backslide, showing the jump. It was stuff. Yeah, it's pretty neat. And then in here, let's see, this one is a completely sealed postcard dish thing, so I'll leave it as is. We got, you know, what's on the front and the back. The Animations Collection, or a, whoa, that's a weird crinkly sound. And now it's completely, or maybe not completely, but yeah, just a brief look at the inside. It's a pretty neat little box. And of course, I got the GWP version of this. Technically, I didn't know I'd already ordered the GWP version, and I have a second copy that I'm going to give a friend or something. But this is what Rice got sent with it. And I haven't opened it yet to find out what it is. It's very clothy. This says to be continued. Jojo's Bizarre Adventure. Huh. Interesting. Not exactly sure what it is other than a big piece of cloth. I don't know if it's supposed to be a napkin or if it's supposed to be a decorative cloth. Oh well. It's not a big week, but here's this week's anime DVD collection update. Or anime Blu-ray collection update. Well, it was a little slow progress. You know, I've been doing a lot of Splatoon 2, but I finished And You Thought There Is Never a Girl Online. I have to read this here because the grammar feels kind of weird. Anyways, content-wise, I think I kind of mentioned, you know, kind of finding it enjoyable, but also, well, I don't think I mentioned this, but I kind of wondered if it'd be able to keep me entertained. And it wasn't too bad, but it wasn't anything that was particularly spectacular, I guess, which is probably why it's rated where it is. It's not too insulting to watch. It's got some nice moments, some meh moments, and so it all balances out, I guess, to a watchable show, I guess. But, yeah, I've finished it. What do I think about the ending? I don't know. Then I put on Gate, and this one's actually been catching my attention. I think I've actually had a little trouble sleeping because it energized me. I know last night it did. The night before that, I'm not sure if it was watching just the first episode of this or if it was drinking a lot of Gatorade before going to bed. You know, sugar, well, I don't know that's necessarily known for keeping you awake, but if you have a lot of energy and you're a kind of default awake person like me, then I guess it could do that. Anyways, it's not a perfect series, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm kind of surprised it's rated as low as it is, and maybe it's because it will leave me unfulfilled by the end or something. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, there's a lot of weird things going into this show that's kind of hard to talk about because I don't know how much I want to actually say. For example, it plays... well, I guess you kind of get the impression from the beginning that the entire idea is Gate appears and you have a modern day Japanese civilization, and on the other side of the Gate is medieval fantasy world. And basically it's about the JSDF, or if you don't know what that stands for, that's the Japanese Self-Defense Force. The JSDF is going through the Gate, setting up strongholds, kind of engaging, and you know, there's a kind of conflict of cultures thing going on there, which I guess that's something I really like. I really like that with Gargantia on the Virtuous Planet, or was that of the Virtuous Planet? I can't remember. And Gargantia is kind of interesting because it begins really strong and it kind of presents these two conflicting cultures and doesn't really say, oh yes, one's definitely good, the other one's definitely bad. And Gate's a little different in that regard because the JSDF are being portrayed as really, really good. And depending on who you're viewing on the medieval side, of course, is bad people. But then again, not everybody on the normal side of the Gate is actually that great either. And that would be one of my meh parts of it, where it's like, I can't help but feel like the U.S. president should be twirling his mustache and going, ooh, hoo, 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 like some sort of evil Bond villain or something. Because he's just evil-esque. It's weird. Because, you know, as much damage or chaos as I think any of the presidents I've seen in the office have been, they're not, let's kill people and get things our way or something like that. You know, they seem more just corrupted by their own views as opposed to trying to force other people through, well, anyways, that's a long thing. So, you know, it's kind of playing with that a little bit. I think maybe one thing that could turn some people off from the show is that could make it feel a bit like a pro-military commercial of some sort. Like those old Navy commercials where the guy's going through the maze and stuff, and then at the end he's or that Navy or Marines or something like that. And it could be, it feels kind of like it's idealizing stuff a bit, but taking that aside, I mean, I thought that Spider-Man Homecoming car commercial that kind of was on YouTube recently was okay and amusing. You know, clearly a commercial, but you know, kind of still doing something entertaining otherwise. And in that regard, I kind of enjoy Gate because it's presenting a sort of ideal that is still flawed in its own way. I like the main character. He's not your average main character. For a while there, I was a little confused by some of his actions until I kind of put two and two together before the show kind of So I'm like, why is he doing this? He doesn't seem like that archetype, and that's because he's really a different kind of archetype than you think he initially is. And they don't probe that initial archetype a whole lot, which is weird because they set it up really strongly. So maybe some people don't like this contradiction in the main character, but at the same time, I'm wondering if we could be dealing with an unreliable narrator where he talks about his priorities in life, but in reality that's what he says, and he's not necessarily that. For the characters, one of the things I really like about the beginning of the show, and a lot of it there, is it's not really about him. So while this does have its harem anime setup, it's kind of more naturally evolving over time, kind of. I say kind of because at the same time it's like, oh, well, once these people become attached to him, they seem to be joined at the hips. But they kind of develop it, not like, oh, they just show up and, oh, here's the situations, and now they find that he's a guy that has to live under the same roof as a bunch of girls at an all-girls dorm because now he's their manager or something silly like that. And that's a classic Love Hina, and they usually tend to be about silly premises, but this one I think doesn't have to be because it's designed the character in a different way. And it's given us things that are interesting beyond that. The culture clashing stuff is especially interesting. There's horrible stuff that happens, but depending on which direction the horribleness happens, it's one of those things where you can just kind of tell these people have their mind blown. It's kind of like the interestingness of finding out somebody's contacted some Amazonian human tribe that's never seen anybody other than their fellow tribesmen in their entire life. It's a neat story. I'm not sure that many of those are actually that, because I've heard of some where it's like, no, there's some that are definitely set up, I guess. But it's still a neat story, a neat idea. And just imagine how cool it is to show all these people this stuff. And in this case, it's a bit of a rough and tumble way of it happening, but it's fun. It's there. And I guess I was going to talk about the characters because I think I started tying things together. There's things here and there that are a little weird, a little thrown at you, a little explained, but they're amusing. So, gosh, I'm rambling because somewhere in there I didn't even mention the part where if the bad things happen in the other direction, this show has this tendency to give you some relief, some feeling of relief for it. So there's been a couple things that happened that really incensed me, but this show's playing into this certain mindset. Not necessarily that people are doing the right thing, but like, I don't know. I just wonder if this is one of those things that kind of caters to my own personal tastes in a way that maybe a lot of people don't, so it's kind of balances out to so-and-so, or if, again, I'm in for a really bad ending or something like that. There's only one way to tell, and I'll have to watch it. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much all the anime I've watched, and I keep not talking about stuff there, and I don't know. Gate has its weird moments, but I still want to watch more. For Splatoon 2, let's see, we had a Splatfest on Saturday, and if you wanted to know, I was on Team Ketchup, so of course my team didn't win. It's frustrating because it feels like when Splatfests happen, like I felt this on the first Splatoon on the Wii U, it kind of feels like Splatfests are held on the B servers, for lack of better words, where you kind of feel like I shot this guy a dozen times with my aerospray, and the aerospray isn't necessarily very accurate, but I covered the entire area with ink, and somehow he not only didn't get hit, but he shot me once with a dually and hit me once, and I only went tink once and popped, and it's just these weird slight lagginess, which makes it kind of frustrating. It makes it really easy to want to blame Team Mayonnaise for but the truth of the matter is they probably were experiencing the same thing for Team Ketchup, and it's frustrating, especially since I didn't want to stop because this is the first time to get Super Sea Snails, Super Sea Snails are important for adding slots to gear so that I can start selecting the gear that looks the way I want with the abilities I want. You know, you can't always get both of everything. And then I need to start collecting chunks so that I can intentionally set up the gear to be what I want, which means Salmon Run's about to become more important. Meanwhile, single player stuff, I finally beat the single player mode, but I think I want to play through with all the weapons, and I did that for the first. I've done that for the first 3 stages, so it's stages 4 and 5 are all that are left. Although that could also be some of the harder stages, so it might be a little slower. I don't know. But it's kind of hard to do that while watching Gate, or watch Gate while doing that. So something has to give. Gate probably gets finished first. Whereas Splatoon, yeah, it's fun. Splatoon 2 is still fun. Oh god, and I just reached professional in Salmon Run, so it's probably going to be very nasty. Ugh. Oh well, I'm going to go ahead and end my update there. Y'all, have a nice week.